So, dear students, I hope the extraction of metals, and especially the extraction of aluminium, was clear to you. So, now we move on to the last part of the lesson, that is the corrosion of metals. Now, you all have learned about corrosion of metals in your lower class, in your 8th standard, in your 9th standard, maybe even in your 7th standard. Okay, so it's a very it's a thing which you have learned quite a you have always learned, but here we learn a little more in detail. That's the only thing, we learn a little more in detail. So the what is it? How can I define corrosion? The slow decay or destruction of metals due to the effect of gases, moisture, and other atmospheric factors is called corrosion. Decay or destruction of metal. The metals get destroyed. It's not a happy thing. No? So if your iron gets corroded, let's say you have iron cycle, it gets corroded or spoiled, rusted. Will you be very happy? Will you be distributing pedas all in the whole building, mother? That if you are, that your iron cycle, that your cycle has got rusted? No, it's not a good thing. It's not a good sign. And it's a slow process. It's a slow process. It's a slow process. It doesn't happen overnight. No, you keep the your cycle in the rainy season. You keep it for one day outside. Within one day, will your cycle get rusted? No, it happens very slowly. That's why it's a slow decay. Decay means sadta hai, it gets destroyed, or destruction of metal due to the effects of gases, moisture, and other atmospheric factors. Other gases, other things, chemicals which are there in the air. Now this definition is not in the textbook, but this I prefer this definition. The definition which is there in your textbook is the second one, which I am showing you just now. This definition: due to the various components of the atmosphere, oxidation of metals take place, consequently resulting in their damage. This is called corrosion. So why I don't agree with this definition is because here it is written oxidation of metals. Now mind you, during corrosion, all metals don't get oxidized. Only there are two metals to my knowledge which get oxidized during corrosion. One is iron. When the iron gets rusted or corroded, it gets oxidized, and one is aluminium, which reacts with oxygen. Otherwise, all the other metals they don't react with oxygen. They react with other things which are there in the air. So that's why I don't agree with definition. But anyway, in the exam you stick to this definition. Now let's see. Let's see how the different metals. Iron, we all know, reacts with oxygen in moist air. Okay. Now oxygen is there in the air whole year, but does the iron react with oxygen in the air whole year? Whole year do things get rusted? No. Only in the rainy season. Why in the rainy season? Because the rainy season there is a lot of moisture in the air. So that's why the iron reacts with the moist oxygen which is there in the moist air. So iron for corroding reacts for getting corroded or rusting requires oxygen also and moisture also, that is water, water vapor, to form reddish substance called hydrated ferric oxide. So this is ferric oxide. Fe2O3 is called ferric oxide. H2O, because it is H2O, that's why we call it hydrated on its surface. So this is how iron gets corroded. Next one, copper reacts with carbon dioxide in moist air. Again, copper also, does it get reacted to oxygen? No, copper is reacting with carbon dioxide. That's why I told you this second step. I don't like this word oxidation. So copper reacts with carbon dioxide in moist air. So it requires moisture as well as carbon dioxide, and slowly it loses its luster or shine to form a greenish layer of copper carbonate. So copper forms copper carbonate. How it gets corroded? When copper gets changed into copper carbonate, that means it has undergone corrosion. Now this process is also called patination of copper. Is it clear? And how does iron get corroded? When iron gets converted to ferric oxide or hydrated ferric oxide, it gets corroded. Okay, and we call the corrosion of iron, we call it as rusting. We call it rusting. Whereas the corrosion of copper, we call it as patination. We call it as patination. So here iron, when it is corroded, it becomes reddish, whereas copper becomes greenish, a greenish, or greenish yellow sort of. On exposure, what about silver? On exposure to air, silver reacts with the hydrogen sulfide gas which is there in the air to form a blackish layer of silver sulfide. Now here silver, is it reacting with oxygen? No, it is reacting with what? Hydrogen sulfide to form blackish layer of silver sulfide. So when silver gets converted to silver sulfide, we say silver has got corroded. And what color is silver sulfide? Black color. We all know, no? Our silver ornaments, they become black after some time, no? चांदी का जो पहनते हो ना, ring या chain, it slowly turns black. Even if you have some silver statue in your house, Ganpati ka, whatever god ka, so it turns black slowly because of the corrosion. Next one, next metal. Aluminium reacts with oxygen there and undergoes oxidation to form a thin layer of aluminium oxide. So aluminum also undergoes corrosion or oxidation to form aluminium oxide. So it forms a, you can say, a black layer of aluminium oxide. So I hope this is clear. So these are the four metals. You have to study these four metals, how these they get corroded: iron, copper, what is iron, copper, silver, and aluminium. I hope it is clear to the clear till here. Okay, let's move. Now we see the different. Now, as I told you, metals are very valuable, so we need to protect these metals from corrosion, and that's why we use certain methods. So we'll see how we can prevent the corrosion of metals. So corrosion of metals can be prevented if the contact between the metal and the air is cut off. So why metals got corroded? Simply because they react with the gases or chemicals which are there in the air, or moisture which is there in the air, and they get corroded. So if you cut off the supply of air, the metal will not get corroded. As simple as that. So what are some of the methods? Some of the method by which we can do this is given below. First, applying a layer of some substance on the metal surface so that the contact of metal with the moisture and oxygen in the metal is cut off. So you apply some nice layer and you can cut off the contact with the air, with the metal. Second is applying a layer of paint, oil, grease or varnish on the metal surface. For example, rusting can be prevented by this method, no? To prevent cycles from rusting, we paint it, or iron grills in the windows. In the window there are grills, we paint it. Or if you have a cycle, we put oil or we put grease or we put varnish to do that. So especially for cycles, we use what is that, greasing, or we use painting. No? We put oil paint. We put a oil paint. For example, rusting of iron can be prevented by applying anti-rust solution, or oil paint, or galvanizing, galvanizing. Okay, we'll learn about galvanizing in detail in the next slide. And alloying. Alloying means making an alloy. Okay. So and etc. and so on and so forth. Now, corrosion can also be prevented by putting a layer of a non-corrodible metal on the metal surface, on the surface of the corrodible metal. So let's say you have a metal which can easily get corroded. So you put a metal which does not get corroded and you coat it with that metal. Okay. Let's say copper is getting corroded. So I put a coating of tin on it because tin does not get easily corroded. Copper gets corroded very easily. So I coat it with tin, or I put a layer of tin metal on the surface of copper. So what happens? And we all know tin does not get corroded easily. So we put a non-corrodible metal, a metal which does not undergo corrosion very easily. Now, how we can do this? How can coat a non-corrodible metal on the surface of the corrodible metal? By these methods: by galvanizing, tinning, anodizing, electroplating and alloying. Okay, so we'll learn in detail about this in the coming slides. Let's move. So let's learn this first method of preventing corrosion of metals: galvanizing. So you have learned in your lower class about this method, but we just go through it. So what is galvanizing? In this method, a thin layer of zinc is applied on the surface of iron or steel to prevent their corrosion. For example, when you buy khilla or nails from the shop, iron nails or pins, you see they are nice and shiny. Why do they look so shiny? Because they are coated with zinc. And why they coated with zinc? So that they don't get rusted. So here corrosion of zinc occurs first because zinc is more electropositive than iron. However, after the few rainy seasons, the zinc layer gets washed away and the inside iron gets exposed and starts rusting. Okay, so once the zinc layer gets washed away, then again there is a danger of the iron getting rusted after that, because it gets exposed, no, when the zinc gets washed away. Second, tinning. Tinning, or what you call in Hindi, you call it kalai, no, kalai. In this method, a layer of molten tin is applied on the surface of the copper or brass vessel. Okay, what do you apply? You apply a layer of molten tin. Now, why do we do that? A copper or brass vessel that get corroded to form a greenish poisonous layer of copper carbonate. Now, this layer of copper carbonate is very poisonous. So, if buttermilk, what you call chas, no, tak, or curry is kept in such a copper vessel or brass vessel which is corroded, so there is a danger that this copper carbonate, which will get mixed with the buttermilk or the curry which you are eating or drinking, and it will spoil it, and not only spoil it, it will make it poisonous. So you can land up in the hospital because of that. Okay, so that's why it's dangerous. So that's why they put a coating of tin or layer of tin, molten or melted tin, on the top of the copper vessel, on the surface of copper vessel, so that the copper does not get corroded and there is no harm to the people who are cooking their food in copper vessel. We all, many of in the, you see the weddings and all, they usually use copper vessels for cooking because copper is a very good conductor of heat. So let's continue. So I hope this is clear, the galvanizing and tinning. We go on to the next process. The third process is anodizing. Anodizing. What is anodizing? In this method, metals like copper and aluminium, especially aluminium, are coated with a thick and strong layer of their oxides. So in other words, copper is coated with copper oxide, aluminium is coated with aluminium oxide by using electrolysis. So again, electrolysis. Okay. For this, in this method, the copper or the aluminium article which has to be anodized is used as the cathode. Let's say you want to anodize some rod, aluminium rod, or some aluminium spoon, or some vessel. So it is that aluminium article or copper article which you want to anodize. Okay, it is connected to the positive terminal. That's why it is used as the anode. Used as a anode. That's why the word is anodizing. Why anodizing? Because the article which you want to anodize is connected to the anode, and that's why we call this method as anodizing. So very easy to remember. As this oxide layer is strong and very uniformly applied all over the surface, it is useful for preventing corrosion of these metals. What are the examples? Kitchen articles like anodized pressure cooker. When you buy pressure cookers, no, they're nice. You buy, usually you tend to, they're all anodized. You have anodized pans, no, frying pan and all that, and especially frames of sliding windows in your windows. No, you have the sliding windows in your house, some of you. So this sliding window frames are anodized. They are all anodized. So there are applications of anodizing techniques. So that when it is anodized, the A for aluminium is A for anodized. It does not get corroded very easily. It is little expensive, but it is always good to use anodized aluminium, because at least it will not get. You will be sure that it will last for a long time. It will last for a long time. We gone to the last two methods. We finished galvanizing. We finished tinning. When we finished anodizing, now we go on to electroplating. So what is electroplating? In electroplating, in this method, a less reactive metal is coated on a more reactive metal by using electrolysis. So for example, silver plated spoon and gold plated ornaments. Why? We all know silver is a least reactive metal. No, we saw the reactivity series. Silver is right down. Copper, no, copper and the silver, gold, platinum, they are least reactive. Now, what do? They put a coating of silver on the top of the spoons and ornaments. You all know this. No, you buy these ornaments. Okay, this Bentex ornament, which are not totally gold. So, which has got only a coating of gold. So, what happens? Gold is a noble metal, and noble metals don't get corroded at all. Nothing affects them. So when we gold plate ornaments, so what happens is these ornaments, they have not only have a nice look, but they remain in a good state for a long time. So gold plated ornament, we cannot afford to buy fully gold ornaments, so we buy gold plated ornaments. People know they can't, if they can't afford now, nowadays gold rates also have gone quite high up. So you use silver plated spoons. You can't afford to buy a totally silver spoon, so you can have silver plated spoons. And as a result, that spoon also will last for a long time. The last method is alloying. So what is alloying? Alloying, we all learned in our lower class, is a homogeneous mixture formed by, an alloy is a homogeneous mixture formed by mixing a metal with other metals or non-metals in a particular proportion. Now you cannot use any proportion. There is has to be particular ratio. Okay, it is, you are not making some bhel, okay, or chuda that you just mix and do it. No, you have to you have to be used in the proper proportion. Okay. So alloying is mainly done to decrease the intensity of corrosion of metal. So why do we do alloying? Simple. Because a metal has got a weakness, so we do alloying to cover up that weakness. To cover up that weakness. For example, I know iron gets rusted, so I use alloying. I alloy it and make steel so that it does not get rusted. Like gold, no? Same thing with gold also. We know gold, what happens? Gold is very soft. Gold is very soft. So what happens if you use a gold ornament, pure gold ornament, there are chance that the gold ornament, the chain or the ring which you are, the chain which you are wearing will break, will snap and fall down somewhere, and you will be have a, you'll have a lot of loss, financial loss. So what do? You mix the gold with copper or silver, especially with copper. You mix gold with copper, so it becomes nice and strong. The copper gives strength to the gold because gold is very soft. So why is alloying done? Simply to cover up or to make up for the weakness of the metal. Okay, and so that the metal does not get corroded. That is also one this thing. Example for alloys are bronze. Bronze contains 90% copper and 10% tin. Now I told you this, you see this laser pointer. I told you that in alloy the metals and non-metals, or the metals are in a specific proportion. So you take 90% copper and 10% tin. That if you are making 100 gram bronze, you have to take 90 grams of copper and 10 grams of tin. Stainless steel contains 74% iron, 18% what? Chromium and 8% carbon. And 22 karat gold. What is 22 karat gold? It will contain gold. I told you 24 karat gold is very soft, so we use 22 karat gold because they mix a little bit of copper with. That's why it's called 24 karat gold is 100% pure, 100%. But 22 karat gold will be around 91% or 92% pure. So 92 grams of gold and maybe 8 grams of copper to make it strong, so that your chain or whatever you're wearing or bangle does not break and fall down. What about bronze statues? Now, as I told you, copper gets corroded to form copper carbonate. But if you add tin to it and make an alloy of copper and tin, that is bronze, these bronze statues do not get affected by sun and what? Rain. Even when you are sports, remember when you stand third, the first place gets the gold medal, second place they get silver medal, and what does the third place person who stands third in the race or comes third in the race, they get a what medal in the Olympics or sports? They get a bronze medal. They get a, why do they get bronze medal? Because bronze does not get affected by sun and rain. It does not get easily corroded. If they had to give you pure copper, the copper will get corroded, and that copper medal will become get corroded and form copper carbonate. And the last example is stainless steel vessels. Stainless steel vessels do not get rusted. If you have to use iron vessels, suppose you use iron vessel for cooking, what will happen? There's a chance that the iron, because the vessels are usually washed with water and all, the iron easily will get rusted. And if you cook food in that rusted iron vessel, what will happen? Don't ask me what will happen. Okay, you'll have a lot of problem. All the iron rusted, the iron oxide powder will go in your stomach, and I don't know what it will do. So it will really spoil the taste of the food also. So that's why we use stainless steel vessel, and we all know stainless steel vessels in your house which you're using, they don't get rusted at all. They don't get rusted at all. They actually, and so you can use it. They can be used for cooking, and they will last for a long time. So I hope with this we complete the lesson, and I really hope, fondly hope, that you have understood the lesson. So thank you for listening to me.